Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a perfect crescendo of lighting, composure, and music that has awed its 1980s viewers. It rocks them to their cores and provides a captivating and thought-provoking plot. In this segment, I'm going to take a look at a scene and talk about the uses of technical strategies in filmmaking. Then I'll touch on a convention the film displays that defines it to be the horror genre. Alright, so this scene is represented in two main elements, what we see and what we hear. What we hear is Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkren's eerie music swell up as Danny sees room 237. Those high-pitched string notes really amp up the mysterious vibes and essentially warn you that something important's about to happen, so you can look up from your phone and go to your mate, "Ooh, it's the room the chef was talking about. How spooky." In all seriousness though, the sound editing in The Shining is a real marvel and is something that has been deeply analysed by others. And then there's the picture, which can be split up into many more subcategories. There's the lighting, the camera work, acting, the arrangement of everything, or mise en scène, and others. But I'm going to be talking mainly about the first two here. Now for this film, Kubrick lit nearly all scenes inside the Overlook Hotel very brightly to give an unsettling feel. Like a liminal space sort of vibe. If you haven't seen liminal spaces, they look sort of like this. Camera work too is very interesting in many scenes of the film, including this one, because of its use of the recent invention of the time, the Steadicam. Steadicam is a camera stabilizer that gave filmmakers the ability to have a camera operator walk around the room without it shaking. Kubrick utilised this new technology to film behind Danny as he rides down the hallways of the sinister hotel, giving a sort of feeling that it's the beast inside the walls of the hotel, donning the perspective of the camera, following behind him, wherever he goes. Steadicam is also used in many scenes, like of Jack walking around the Overlook Hotel, and even in scenes like the axe chase scene and the staircase scene. The Shining also uses editing with rapid and repetitive cuts in its climax sequence. At this point of the film, Jack Torrance descends into complete insanity under the influence of the malevolent supernatural forces within the haunted Overlook Hotel. In this sequence, the cuts become more rapid and repetitive, with quick shifts between shots and scenes. This technique creates a sense of disorientation and intensifies the feeling of madness and confusion. The audience is bombarded with a barrage of disturbing and unsettling images, leaving them with a visceral and overwhelming experience. Now, on to the next media text.
Watch out. The gap in the door. It's a separate reality. The only me is me. Are you sure the only you is you?
Please bear in mind, this game is intended to make the player feel very unsettled, but there is no visible gore, just a lot of blood. PT, an acronym for Playable Teaser, is a chilling interactive experience made to tease the release of an upcoming game that never came to be. It itself is a mystery story, but that's for a video essay on its own. Directed and designed by Hideo Kojima, in collaboration with filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, and developed by Kojima Productions, PT a seemingly short hour-long horror gem swiftly ascends to cult hit status among gamers and ensnares players in a grip of terror and panic. Personal assurance guaranteed. The gist of the game is that you're trapped in a haunted corridor of a house that perpetually loops and redecorates itself. You eventually come to realize that an evil entity is haunting both you and the environment around you. So it's no cakewalk snooping around someone else's house. PT has little to no story, so you can only put together some knowledge of the house's previous occupants and their nature from the objects and items scattered throughout the haunted setting.
By their husband and father. The father purchased the rifle used in the crime at his local gun store 2 days earlier. This brutal killing took place while the family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. The day of the crime, the father went to the trunk of his car, retrieved the rifle, and shot his wife as she was cleaning up the kitchen after lunch. When his 10-year-old son came to investigate the commotion, the father shot him too. His 6-year-old daughter had the good sense to hide in the bathroom, but reports suggest he lured her out by telling her it was just a game. The girl was found shot once in the chest from point-blank range. The mother, who he shot in the stomach, was pregnant at the time. Police arriving on scene after neighbors called.
You enter a room. You're in a hallway. As you walk forward, you pass a loud humming light. You hear the radio getting louder and louder, and hear a reporter announce the murder of a family by their husband. You pass a window and hear the heavy rain against it. You turn right and see a swinging light, creaking, back and forward, to no end. The radio keeps playing, and the reporter goes into extremely unnecessary detail on the killing. Then you see the basement door and enter it, only to be back in the same corridor you were in before. PT is an exemplary testament to the profound impact of audio design in video games. The haunting audio elements envelop players in an eerie ambience, featuring atmospheric soundscapes, dynamic sound effects, and a melancholic music score by Akira Yamaoka that intensifies with the gameplay. Later on in the game, you are blessed with the presence of a crying baby, and occasionally, you can hear sobbing emanating from the bathroom, who is assumed to be the dead daughter mentioned on the radio. This magnifies the feeling even more and showcases perfect use of sound design in the horror media genre. The radio alone can be further analysed. Not only does it provide insight into the before-math of the killings, but the voice behind the radio occasionally breaks character, saying things like,
"Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started.
And
look behind you. I said, look behind you."
It also becomes an audio gateway to hell when you're in the red light phase. Having a creepy and possessed object like a radio is seen often in horror texts, as it puts the player at unease, as usually radios are friendly. When playing PT, you feel that you are the protagonist. You yourself are personally exploring the malevolent corridors and dealing with the surroundings around you. When placing you in the first-person perspective, PT doesn't just take advantage of the limited vision with its narrow field of view, it authentically replicates the experience of really walking through the hallways. The camera subtly bobs up and down as you cautiously progress, mirroring the slow and hesitant movements of a real human. At the start of the playthrough, the sideways view of the door from the floor accurately reflects what you would see if you woke up in an unfamiliar basement. The game even Enthralling accuracy makes the camera topple onto the floor in the jump scare with the entity, and makes you stare at the wall as she feasts on your corpse while you're still alive. Kojima and Del Toro knew perfectly well how to make you cower to your knees before them and suffer when playing their game, and the players at the time saw that and praised it for its groundbreaking design and meticulous attention to detail in forming the most immersive experience. Regrettably, a mere 8 months after its release, the much anticipated game that PT teased, Silent Hills, met a tragic end as development was abruptly terminated due to creative differences between Konami the publisher and Kojima the visionary game director, which led to the eventual departure of Hideo Kojima from Konami. This marked a significant and turbulent event in the gaming industry and led to the widespread outcry from game journalists and die-hard fans of Kojima and the Silent Hill series. PT's enduring legacy rests in its ability to captivate players' minds and hearts, shaping a masterpiece of horror that remains unparalleled. The game's audio design and camera work intertwine seamlessly, compelling players to confront Kojima's ingenious invention without looking away. PT's persuasive and effective horror experience will forever linger in the annals of gaming history, leaving a sinister imprint on those who dare venture into its foreboding corridors. It'd be funny if I didn't press record. I would literally get so mad. Okay, cool. Hello!